Hello, welcome. It's Kristen from Life of Crafting, and I have started this Greetery card. Oh, I want to say it's been 2 years. This was the finished card. I started these like the year this came out and was so in love with it. I did some videos about trying to get things laid out. I'll have to see if I uploaded it. If I didn't, I'll try to add it on to the end of this video and make it all in one. Because there was a couple things. The Greetery did this card with a video of a YouTube video on how to do the coloring of the branches and the pine cones. There was a few things that kind of took me by surprise, which was how much of a paper like shim I needed to get this in-out branch to work. So that was part of the other one. I really loved this, I think this is called the Nordic frames die. I really do like the detail that it puts on the edge of that. So anyway, I did color up everything, and her instructions were pretty good. I just am not a person that has done coloring before, so I kind of had a little bit of a tough time trying to figure out the colors at the store to buy. So that was on me. I'm a little more heavy-handed on this than she was. Again, I apologize. I don't know her name. She's, I believe, the one that's the founder and the designer over there. So I really did like the card. I really have been trying to finish it. And this was one of them things I think you need to do like in stages. Like just sit and cut out all your background, then sit down and cut all your in-out branches. It's going to take a while. I did 20 of these cards, and I finally have them all together. And my glitter, I don't remember if she mentioned what she had done. I have this like really like chunky glitter that I got at like Hobby Lobby or something. It's like a cheap like faux snow kind of thing, and I use this a lot when I have to do different projects. And then what I like to add to it is some of the, I got this from Amazon, this glass glitter. I think it just really adds a sparkle to the project. And again, there is like all kinds of stuff in here here's like some beads from a project I did. I just always start with this one that is a compilation of every other project I ever did. I do have this Stampin' Up! Silver glass glitter that's a little more chunkier. I think I'm going to pass on putting that in there. I think I like how this came out. And the nice thing about when you do this, you can just touch the glue wherever, and you don't have to do any rhyme or reason. The glitter is just going to adhere on there. These are some old like Stouffer macaroni and cheese bins. I've talked about how I use them a lot between sorting my dies for projects like this. They're perfect because, again, they didn't cost me anything. I've got a bunch of them. If something gets kind of skanky, I just throw it out. So this was pretty much it, and you just kind of keep touching glitter until it's glitified. Is that the word? Is that such a word? So it's to your liking. I do find that, it will kind of tone down your coloring. So like I said, I was a little heavy-handed, and I'm going to put glitter here because I felt like I kind of just did a little too much brown on the ends of these pine cones. And I'm just going to stick glitter on there, and you'll never know. So I'm going to put this up for the Sapmorn Makes. Like I said, I just finished these today. Thank you, Jesus. Like I said, it's been a good 1.5 to 2 years. I made 20 of them because I'm crazy. These will be my personal because this is a lot of they're going to take you some time, but the effects are beautiful. I really, really liked how they came out. So thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, put them below. I will tell you I used Gina case. I think this is like a Christmas pine or something, because finding this really dark forest green was not an easy task, and I used her Christmas pine ink. for this one. I started with, I don't even remember whose stamp this was on this one, and I didn't like the, it had this effect in there like it was aged and broken up, and I just didn't like how it laid out on the card. So this is, I'll be honest, I still have to find the home where this stamp came from. So, because you needed it kind of a compact one down over here for everything to lay out right. So I hope you like my card. Would love a thumbs up if you did. If you could subscribe down below, that would be perfect. I would appreciate it. And I'll see you next time. Bye. So I found my other video. And like I said, I'm going to add it to the back of the video that I'm taping now. So I taped the first one where I glued this together. I watched my previous video from where I was first putting this together. And some of what I had to say then, I'm kind of laughing at myself because it's like, I don't know. I just did... there's 2 components to this pine branch, 2 to this one, and then the main stem. I don't know why I was using a 5th one, because like I said, there's a fluffier one that goes in the back, and then a thinner one that goes in the front. And the reason for that is that that little bit of stem kind of peeks through. And then you got a fluffy one in the back and one on the top, and this one's longer and this one's shorter. So I don't know why I was saying I needed a 5th one. Don't know. She does show in her videos the die cutting and the assembly for these, and then talks about the shading. I will tell you, I did what she said and I put them together, and I think what I was trying to say that I would talk about in my next video was, sorry, I got glitter all over, that just bothers me. I think what I was trying to say was, I put these together, and I did a mass production, as I mentioned in that previous video, and I did it with washi tape, and I want to tell you, I think what I'm going to try and what I was going to say was put them together and then put them right on the card, because the longer these sat, the more things kept shifting, and then I had them colored and trying to match up what I had colored to the angle of where it should have been. It was, yeah, it just was a problem. And the problem was because I sat here and didn't finish what I started. So that's my recommendation. If you're going to do them like as the last thing, and then put them right on the card. So that's the only thing I can think of for the construction of this. Like I said, the video that they did, she showed you how she shaded. She talked about how she colored those. I did kind of what she said. I was a lot more heavy-handed with the inks as well. So, you know, hers was, my first version had it more closer to what she did, but they still came out nice. And the other thing I did, as I've been glittering up, I told you I make this just as like a mix of all kinds of stuff, is without the silver in there, this chunkier stuff that's like the Hobby Lobby stuff, really would not put, it's clear. It's just a little bit of an iridescence. So I like having the silver in there because it gives you something that stays on and gives you that coloring look without having to do all this kind of back and forth to see what's on there. So that is going to be it. I'm going to end this video, and then like I said, when you're watching it, you're going to have 3 segments that are going to come in. Me completing it, the part that we're listening to now, which is me wrapping it up, and then the third part will be what was actually the beginning of making this. So hope that all makes sense. And like I said, beautiful, beautiful card. I'm very happy with how they turned out. Just going to be a little bit more work. So take care. See you next time. Bye. Hi and welcome. This is Kristen from Life of Crafting, and I'm probably going to be doing this card here in multiple different videos that I'll try to stream together. This was featured on the Greetery's YouTube video. I don't believe you could find it in their website. I loved this card. This is my concept card. It's not quite done. I do want to glitter it all up with the mica, and I really am not happy. This is a stamp that is from close to my heart, and I didn't realize it had all these lines of like aging through that, so I'm gonna have to do a different one. The one on the Greetery card is a longer one, and it wasn't until after I started to compile this that it came from yet another stamp set of theirs. I believe it was a Trimming the Tree was this where the sentiment in their version of this came from. So this has taken me pretty much the whole evening to try to reconstruct, because there's a few things that I would really recommend in doing this. First of all, I do keep on hand 2 different white cardstocks because I get it from Hobby Lobby. Again, I am making cards to give away for a retail business that my husband and I own. It's an online retail company, and I just put these in as a giveaway to my customers because a lot of what we sell is really seasonal, giftable type stuff. So I figured this would be a good thing to do for that. So I keep the extra heavyweight cardstock on hand from Hobby Lobby, and that is my card base. And I use it because it has a really nice, heavy texture feel to it, so that it feels like the card has some substance to it. And I tend to do a lot more on the front, and I find that the extra heavyweight is one that will balance out what I put on the front. So I tend to keep that, and then I tend to keep the lighter weight, which would be their typical, Hobby Lobby's typical weight white cardstock, and I use that for cards that I'm not doing a lot of inking on. This is one I would consider that for, because I'm just dabbing some inks and that's it. I'm not really stamping heavily with saturation on them. So when I did this at first with the lighter weight, it really looked cheap. It looked thin. They do a lot of die cutting in here, as I'm showing you here. You will have to take some time to sit and poke all these holes out, which I don't know why I wasn't counting on that as part of my project. This particular card will be one I'm using for our personal use, and I tend to do a little bit more. Those cards I will be willing to do the extra work and to go a little extra for, because again, they're my personal cards I'm giving out to my family and friends. So this particular one just really did not look good in the thin paper. It exactly looked like that, very thin. So what I do is a half a sheet. I did the top and the bottom. This is the Greetery's. We'll keep wanting to say it's the Nordic, but it's not. It is called the... Ooh, I will have to link it below. I just got it in the mail. I don't remember. It's something. Nordic Arctic frames. I'll link it below. You get these, and then one more in the middle that has the same diagonal design as this one. And to me, it was just a great year-round frame that really could set off your card design with just that little bit of stitching. And again, you don't have to poke all the holes out. You could just leave it like that. So that was one thing I'm gonna make a note on for you before we get further. And then the other thing was, I tend to, as I call it, lay everything out on the board, which would be this for my die cutting machine. And what I kept finding was I was ready to do this because I wanted the pine bough for another card. And if you really looked at, and they only flash it up at the end of a video, I found this on there, and it took me some doing to find out what it is, and that is a die that's known as, I have it here. It is the Greetery's, and I think it's called In and Out Branch die. So what happens is it comes out and it's all one piece, and then you have to punch out this stuff from the center to get that outline. Excuse me. So what I found was this was on the thinner paper, and I was not getting a clean cut through. And like I said, this is thinner paper. Even the pine boughs were not going through. So I had to think about what I was going to do for this, and what I wound up doing was I put them 2 to a sheet, and I had to just do this die by itself on the board, and I wound up doing, if you can imagine, 3 sheets of that thin cardstock as a shim, and that got it through so that I could easily get these to break apart. So one of my recommendations is if you're going to do this in more than like one, you want to do this in a bulk, do not try to do this with a bunch of other things on the die cutting board at the same time, because you're just going to be frustrated the way I was. Like I said, it looks like it wants to come out, but then when you go to do the inside pieces, these inside pieces don't want to come out. Some of the pine boughs I found were easy if you punch them out from underneath and just push them forward, and those were coming out. And then the other things on here were the pieces of the pine cones, and I will get into that as I'm assembling the card. So this is the, like I said, I'm going to probably be doing this in a couple parts, and then I'll edit it all together into one video. So that would be the first recommendation from me to you, is die cut this in the individual components, do the two frames together, take the other half of the sheet and just do this in-out branch, and then take the other half of the sheet to do the pine boughs. And really there winds up being you need the two sizes, and there's 5 pieces to each one of those, and the branch, and then there's 4 pieces to the pine bough. There's a big and a large, or there's 2 pieces to the big one, 2 to the small, and then you need 1 more of any size, other one that you will piece together to form this other piece here. So in the next phase of this, I will show you how I'm compiling this stuff and starting to get the shading in.